All right, in this video, we're talking Ghostbusters Afterlife. The, I guess we'll call it much anticipated sequel to the original series.
Yeah.
And they did not take into account the last movie done in what, 2016 or 17?
Yeah, around there.
So this had a life of its own.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah. This was a true, basically. No, we won't call it a reboot because it was in that universe. It was basically a sequel to the original series.
Yeah.
And
third part, I guess, the trilogy, if you have it.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever acknowledged the second Ghostbusters or not in this, but at the very least, it's a direct sequel to the original movie. So
yeah,
we get to see where things are at, I guess, basically almost 40 years later.
Yeah.
And they start off with a very, I guess you kind of know it's somebody that they don't want to show, and there's a reason behind that, obviously, at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we find out later it's Egon who gets taken out, the late Harold Ramis.
Yeah, and we have his daughter. He had obviously been married or together with someone and had a daughter, and he was a bit estranged, I guess, was the best way of putting it.
The dirt farmer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So he was out in the middle of nowhere, and
preparing for. He obviously stuck with the ghost busting and knew what was to come, and was thought of as crazy for it. And then I guess gets dusted off here, but his family comes into after finding out about his death. His daughter and grandchildren come along, and actually they got a pretty good cast in place for this one.
Yeah.
I Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. The whole works. Like it was a very well done, great cast. It felt somewhat akin to the original series, which was a good thing for Ghostbuster fans. I personally liked the whole tone of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, the kind of the continuation of the story, right? I mean, it's not a direct sequel because we're set in the future, past the kind of big epic event in the 80s in New York City, right? Was that New York City or was it Chicago?
Nope,
I can't remember now. No, it was New York City. Yeah, that's right. So New York City, where they have the big epic event with Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and
Zool
and Zool and Dozer and all that whole crazy thing. And I think what I like about this is that you're kind of talking about the same. I mean, we're obviously talking about spoilers in this when we're doing the review here. The same concept. It's with Zool and the idea of there's a Gozer, right? That it is the baddie, right? And having the big, I guess demon, I guess if you call it, is what it is, a demon, trying to break into this realm. And I can't quite remember what the name of the architect was, but he was the guy that believed in, basically pledging his allegiance to this demon, right?
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a neat thing to see. Like he built this building in New York City, kind of as a temple or a summoning place, and then here in this backwater town, you have the same thing, right?
In the mine.
Yeah, in the mine, right? So basically you have the whole scenario being, look, every certain amount of time, every so many years, this event happens no matter what, whether you like it or not, and we have to stop it, right? So
and Egon had prepared for it and had things set up to hold it in place.
Yeah. And I think, and that's cool. I think it's a neat idea anyways.
It was a well-written around idea. Like it was how they managed to make it work. I thought the idea worked. It wasn't, it wasn't forced. You didn't force characters into this. They just wrote a good story, which was nice, because after that, like you said, it was a dumpster fire, the last one. It was
so bad.
Too much PC crap and written really poorly. This was a breath of fresh air compared to that last one.
Yeah. Not even Chris Hemsworth could have saved that last one.
Oh,
he was in it.
His character was terrible in it too. It was awful.
Oh,
that whole show was awful. I'm glad it's basically being erased from history. It was terrible.
Oh yeah.
They got the whole element right again. Like it was a family element. It was a family friendly show basically. And they weren't pandering to anybody. They were just trying to make a good movie, which was awesome. I was actually kind of worried about it. I was like, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but they pulled kind of the right strings, the right heartstrings, going to call it. There was a lot of sentimental stuff in it. The ending was, for me, but it finished it, sold it. We got what we wanted in terms of getting the big cameos throughout the whole show. We got almost every major character from previous Ghostbuster movies was in this.
Annie Potts was in it, which was great. The only one missing was Rick Moranis. That was the only one
who is and has remained retired, and to his credit, that's fine. I understand he's got his own thing going, and it would have been nice to see him, but we basically got everybody. So, and even through the art of CGI, we still got Harold Ramis, and it was a great, it was a touching moment. It was a great finish to it, and it leaves things open, obviously, with the after credits and everything else like that, open to future films yet.
Oh yeah. How did you think the CGI? Did you like it? I thought it looked good.
It was, because they weren't pulling off a human, right? It didn't have to look perfect. It was a ghost. And they didn't have to have him speak, which they didn't. I think they pulled it off great. The emotion in that scene, without him even saying a word, was great. It was just great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you had Dan Aykroyd's character, and he was upset, right? When Egon's granddaughter called, and he was upset that Egon left him, and it was kind of, they all went their separate ways, and it was kind of, you're right, that touching, heartfelt moment at the very end where they all look over and there's Egon as a ghost doing what they did for, lots of years prior, 40 years ago, right? So it was a good scene, and seeing Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd back there, and what's his name, Ernie Hudson. Yeah, I mean, that was good.
It was a feel good moment.
I really liked it. Yeah, it was a feel good moment, and just enough that they didn't have to be in the movie a whole bunch. It was just that last little bit. It's like, hey, we're still Ghostbusters. We're the originals. We're the guys that are going to get it done. And we're just kind of maybe passing the torch officially. I think that was a good moment, for me at least, anyways.
Yeah. I would definitely recommend anybody who loves the original Ghostbusters series to watch this movie. It was well worth the watch.
Yeah, and even one of my personal favorites, Sigourney Weaver, even had that little cameo at the very end, so that was pretty cool. So,
yeah, the throwback to the beginning of the first Ghostbusters with Bill Murray with the we'll call them tarot cards, but like the cards, the shapes, and that was kind of a neat nod to the original.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I had a good chuckle at the end of that, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a good movie, and I would definitely say it's worth going to watch, and especially if you like the original Ghostbusters movies, and check it out, because it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.